my best definition of Australia is it's South Africa on steroids. What I've started taking for granted, which is walking at night, exercising at night, running at night, that would be one of my key best bits of Australia. I guess, I don't know, it's safety, managing to do everything on my own, not feeling scared. Everybody makes life, I think, quite easy for you to understand processes. Don't wait for an invite because everyone is so busy, they kind of just go with it. If you want to make friends, you've got to be the one to put yourself out there. And I must say, it's probably been the best advice because whereas back home, you tend to wait for the invite. I felt like over here, it didn't feel so bad going, oh, I love doing that. Can I join you guys the next time or something along those lines?
I'm Dr. Chamonix Blanche, ex-corporate and academical, turned CEO and board member of several companies and mother of 4 little extraordinary kids. But it wasn't that long ago that I lacked the confidence, the know-how, and the time to focus on designing and really going after the life that I so wanted to live. A life of freedom, of fairness, and of being fair dinkum to who I really was and what I wanted to get out of this fleeting time that we have on Mother Earth. Fast forward to many lessons learned and moving halfway around the world to the most amazing country, you'll see the life that I now live. One that gives me more safety and freedom than I ever thought would be possible, and that really only existed as a daydream while I was living in South Africa. I created Chamonix TV to give you true spot advice on how you can also live a life in this amazing country, and so that you can see how another couple like us now live in Australia with 4 little kids here in Down Under. And I'll be providing you with step-by-step strategies so that you can make your Aussie dream a reality too. If you're a keen future Aussie who's looking to create a life that excites you and offers you safety, freedom, and opportunity, you have come to the right place, my friend. Welcome aboard.
Hi, Jayshal. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's really lovely to see your smiley face all the way from sunny Sydney. How's it going?
Good. Unfortunately, it's not sunny. We had the best heat wave of 30 degrees for the past week, and now all of a sudden it's storming and cold and windy.
Oh, no. Yeah, it was sweltering hot in Sydney the last few days.
Exactly. Always there has to be a storm afterwards.
True. Yes, it sort of clears everything out and makes space for some new beginnings and new fresh weather. So how long have you been in Sydney for?
I got here June 2019, so a year and a half.
And that was directly from South Africa into Sydney?
No, it was via Melbourne. So I was in Melbourne for a month. It was actually my dream to kind of live there because it's very similar to Cape Town. But it unfortunately or fortunately, I had a final interview there, had a final interview in Sydney, but my Sydney job felt more all-rounded, which is how I accepted it and came here. Thought I would sign a 6-month contract, go back to Melbourne, but I must say Sydney sold me.
Oh, it's beautiful there, isn't it?
It is.
Yes. So 2019 you came to Australia. I have to remember the years because we've just entered 2021.
I know.
It's one of those confusing times.
As I answered that because I was like, what year are we in again?
It always takes about a month or 2 to start getting the year right.
Yep.
Okay, so 2019, you left South Africa, packed all your bags. What did you put in your bags?
I was overweight for my Emirates flight. I had a lot of clothes. I thought I needed my hairdryer and my hair straightener were my 2 very important items. And obviously my passport and visa. Everything was winter clothes, and that was it. I had nothing else. No furniture. I don't even think I had medication on me. Nothing.
So it was you and your bag and hello Australia.
Literally.
And that was your intention to come permanently. What visa did you come under?
I cannot remember the number, but it's the PR one.
Okay, so you already had PR when
Yep.
you came.
I had applied for PR in 2016, got it in 2017, and decided to move in 2019.
Wow. Okay. So why did it take you 2 or 3 years since you got it until you decided to make the move? What was going through your head? What did you have to sort out?
Oh, it was nothing immigration related. I was ready to move the moment I got my PR. It was just, there were a lot of things happening at home, which I kind of had to sort out. And then eventually, when I managed to cut the cords, have a clean slate, it was like I was ready to change jobs. And I thought, why change jobs when I can actually just come here? Instead of, trying to look for a new job and then think of coming here. It was super impulsive. I took my mom and my dad to a very famous restaurant in Cape Town, and it was a Friday evening, I remember, already the 1st of March, and I had a 2-month resignation at my previous role. And I said, if I do this, I have to resign on Monday, otherwise I'm going to only get to leave in July. And they were like, you don't even have to ask us, we've been encouraging you. So that was my Friday evening conversation over a margarita. And yeah.
All good. It's lovely to just be able to have you online, and it's in the middle of your workday and you're in your lunch break. Is that right?
Yes, I am. And generally, it would be a lot more quieter or a bit easier to manage. So we've had so many resignations. So a lot of work has kind of fallen onto me. Hence all these little emergencies that are creeping up.
Now, tell me, Jayshal, what do you do?
I'm a brand manager for a spirits company.
A brand manager for a spirits company. What kind of spirits? You don't have to say the name, but is it like a vodka or a gin?
I don't mind telling you. So I am very fortunate. I work on Cointreau, the little orange bottle, the best liquid to put in a margarita, the Botanist gin, Sierra tequila, St. Remy brandy, Mount Gay rum, Bruichladdich whiskey, Metaxa, which is kind of like a mezcal / brandy, Remy Martin cognac, and
Wow.
there's one more I'm forgetting.
And did you do the same thing in South Africa?
Yes, I worked in alcohol.
Okay, so when you applied for your visa, was it for which skill that you apply? Is it what's it called? Marketing manager?
It would have been under marketing, yes. I was very, very fortunate at the time. So I had a partner who was also interested in moving to Australia. So we both applied for a visa under a partnership kind of visa. And he was in primary skills. I was in secondary skill. Both of us being under 30 and having done our qualifications in English gave us far more points, which is how we both got it.
That is awesome. Wow. Yes. And it's great that you had that, I'm going to say, foresight to have thought about it at that stage in your life. Or have you been thinking about that for years before you actually applied?
No, I mean, I came on holiday in 2009 with my sister, and she was sold. She knew she wanted to move here, whether it's for studying or to live. I must say, I was probably a bit on the spectrum, not sure. But in saying that, I guess I love South Africa, but there's certain things that I kind of want out of my life, and I knew that South Africa would not give me that, which is how I ended up coming here. So this might be borderline language, but I would say my best definition of Australia is it's South Africa on steroids.
I do agree with you. Yes, it's got the best that's blown up or made bigger, and then the worst bits are just not there.
Yes, exactly.
And so what is the best thing for you about Australia?
When I'm on the phone with my mum at 9 o'clock at night, walking home from either an agency dinner, a bar, anything basically, she will say, what are you up to? And I'm like, oh, I just had to leave this dinner. I'm on my way home. And she's like, oh, alone? I'm like, yes, I'm walking. She's like, oh my gosh, you're walking? I'm like, yes. So I guess what I've started taking for granted, which is walking at night, exercising at night, running at night, she still finds surprising. So that would be one of my key best bits of Australia. I guess I don't know. It's safety, managing to do everything on my own, not feeling scared. Everybody makes life, I think, quite easy for you to understand processes. So it's a bit overwhelming at first when you get here, but I guess going to the right places, speaking to the right people, definitely enable you to follow processes properly. Whereas I guess back home, you'd go to Home Affairs 50 times before you can actually apply for your passport. So I guess it works. Like people often make fun of Australia for having too many rules, I would say. But I guess when you actually live in it, you understand why it's there.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes it safe, it makes it fair, it makes it all those things, which is why we actually moved here for.
100%.
Can we flip the coin? Is there something that bugs you, like a pet peeve or something that you wish, why Australia?
I wouldn't say the country, but I would say certain things about people. This is very, very controversial, I would say. I feel like they don't understand race. So I think they understand being multicultural because it is a multicultural place. People are from all over the world here. Very rarely do you come across someone who was born and bred in Australia. It's always like, I was born in Croatia and moved here when I was 2, kind of a thing. I would say, though, it does bug me that people don't understand race because I guess we're so exposed to it in South Africa. So automatically they look at me or my skin color and make the assumption of where I'm from instead of just asking me, which bugs me because I'm very South African. My entire family, grandparents and great-grandparents were born in South Africa. So that's kind of my link, not any other kind of country. So I hate the assumption. And when I say I'm South African, they're like, it can't be. Your skin color says you should be from here. And I just want to be like, what do you know?
You know how funny it is? I actually, as a white South African, get the same thing sometimes from, it depends on which country, not Australians really, but from people from other countries. If they ask me where I'm from, South Africa, and then they'll go, but you're white. I'm like, yes. Like, for me it's a weird thing that people wouldn't expect because we know South Africa to be something with everything, people of all colors, different races, whatever. We all look different, but we're all from the same country. So in South Africa we don't judge by the color, but here they automatically assume it's this or that. So that's an interesting comment. And do you go back often? Have you been back to South Africa? Obviously not in the last year because of COVID.
Oh, I'm devastated. Very touchy topic. When I moved here in May 2019, it was with the intention knowing I'll be back in April 2020 for my sister's wedding. The week I was meant to leave to go home, the borders shut. So now, almost 2 years later, I have not seen my family.
That is sad. But you catch up with them online regularly?
Yeah, but I think because my job is very, very people-oriented, consistently speaking to agencies, colleagues, our managers, it just requires a lot of talking. So at the end of the day, when the time difference allows us to speak to our families, I find it very, very difficult because I am so mentally drained from a day that I physically just don't want to sit on another phone call. So, I mean, as much as I speak to them almost every day, it's very, very hard because sometimes I just don't want to be holding a phone to my ear or having earphones in my head. Yeah.
And your parents, you said, are happy for you to be here. You mentioned your sister that was sold long before you were sold. Is she in Australia yet, I assume?
No, so she was going to move after her wedding. So she's in the process of her application and hopefully will be here by the end of this year.
Wow, how interesting. So you jumped ship before she did.
Yeah.
But it's great because now she can come over and she's got, you know, somebody she knows who can help her settle in so quickly.
That's what I tell her. That's exactly what I tell her.
And how old is she?
She is 28,
Okay, and you are?
31.
All right. So yeah, still in the perfect age category to be coming over. That's great.
Yes.
And you mentioned a partner earlier on. So did you come alone or did you come with somebody when you came over?
No, I came alone.
And how did you find settling in?
I must say, one of the first few people I met gave me the best advice. It was, don't wait for an invite because everyone is so busy. They kind of just go with it. If you want to make friends, you've got to be the one to put yourself out there. And I must say, it's probably been the best advice because whereas back home, you tend to wait for the invite. I felt like over here, it didn't feel so bad going, oh, I love doing that. Can I join you guys the next time or something along those lines? Also, working in alcohol means you have to be super social, and you become friends with your colleagues because you do so many things like going out after hours or eventing together. So I was very, very fortunate that the industry allowed me to meet people and actually make my friends through them as well.
Yes, that's great. It's nice that you've got that work environment that allows for that because often people don't want to mix with their colleagues on a social basis, but you know, you're in the perfect scenario for that. So have you made many Australian friends or what does your circle of friends look like?
Oh, super multicultural. I've got some friends I have actually some childhood friends in Melbourne that are South African. So we danced together back home and we started a dance company here a year ago, which was awesome. So they're South African, I'm South African. I've got other friends from other parts of Africa, which I ended up meeting up with over here. And then everybody else, I would say Croatian, Indian, Spanish, French. So I met all of them here, but nobody's from here.
How awesome. Yeah, so you've got a lot of things in common with those people, you know, having all moved to Australia and now having the same challenges.
Yes, exactly. So we all have the same conversations, the same emotions. It's quite nice to be able to actually have, share the same sentiments with some people.
Now, apart from friends and family, because that's usually the answer that people give, what's the one thing that you missed about South Africa?
Table Mountain.
That's beautiful.
And the vineyards of Cape Town, I would say.
Have you been to Australia's vineyards yet?
I have. I've been fortunate. I've visited Yarra Valley, Hunter Valley. I've been somewhere else. I cannot remember yet, but I cannot remember the name right now. And then Port Macquarie apparently has some wine farms too. So I'll be going there this weekend. I have not found a red wine at least, that I can say is my favorite like I would have back home. So yeah, I have a lot more to experience.
It takes quite a bit of time with the wine thing. It's a common thing for the South Africans who come here and say, oh, I just want to stick to their South African brand, whatever that might have been at that point. And then about 5 years later, when you speak to them again, they're like, oh, I have to tell you, I found that my palate has changed. That's usually how people see it. Well, I don't know if the palate has changed, but they start appreciating the Australian wines more. And then
I agree. I would say there were some varietals back home that I would never have drank. I just never liked them. I either thought they were too acidic or too strong. Whereas over here, those are the varietals I end up drinking. And kind of that. Yeah. So I would say you're right. I think your palate does change. Yeah.
Okay. And what was the other thing I wanted to know? Why did you choose Australia as such? What did you not think about Canada or New Zealand or any of those?
Because it's South Africa on steroids. I have not been to Canada. I have heard a lot of amazing things about Canada, but whereas I have some relatives here that I could lean on, I would not have that in Canada. And I would say, yeah, I just because I think transitioning is easiest in Australia for a South African.
Now, if there are other South Africans watching this thinking, oh, should I go to Australia or not? What would you say to them?
I would say you can always go back home. So I think you would regret not trying as opposed to not knowing.
That's very true. You can try it out and then, keep the best things of everything that you try out. But if you don't, you'll.
And I would further probably add the layer of the moment you land, try to, I think, mentally call it home. Because I think the quicker you accept it, the quicker you adjust.
Very true. Which team do you support, the Springboks or the Wallabies?
Oh, Springboks.
I'll ask you again in a few years' time.
I did go to the Australian-Indian cricket match. I'm very, I will stick to my guns. I don't think I'll be supporting Australia cricket and Australia rugby anytime soon.
I hope the cricket and the rugby and everything can return to normal, because COVID has been interesting, to say the least. But we're very lucky to be able to be in Australia, to be in a safe country, not just in terms of crime, but also in terms of these health scares that we have going around. We're Absolutely. So fortunate.
Yeah, I guess we couldn't be more thankful for being here in terms of the way Australia has managed the situation.
Yes, we miss our friends and our family, but in the same time, we're being kept safe. So that's great.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much, Jayshal, for talking to us. It's been wonderful to hear your story. And I love it that you came all by yourself. You just packed your bags and you said, that's it, I'm going. Here I am, Australia, and I'm going to grab you by the horns and I'm going to ride you. And it's just been... We appreciate you sharing your story and for just encouraging some of those people wanting to make the move but are too scared or not sure that it is possible to have a new life and to have fun.
And thank you for having me. It was wonderful chatting with you.
It was great. Thanks, Jayshal. Enjoy your job. I hope that there's no more emergencies for your day.
I hope so too. I honestly do.
Have a wine.
I you know what? My boss has said this to me every day this week, and I said because of her, I will probably become an alcoholic, so she would need to pay for my AA.
At least you'll have some good alcohol. All right. See you later.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
All right. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you had fun, please remember to hit that subscribe button, and then it'll make sure that you never miss a thing. I'll see you same time and same place next week. Bye for now.